Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. I'm in a bloody good mood. Not only have I seen more sunshine than probably the sun has in the last week, I'm tanned, I'm feeling fresh. It is a big weekend. Chelsea are back. It's been what I would consider to be the longest 2 weeks of the year. Because during Corona, we all just accepted that football wasn't going to be coming back anytime soon. It came back, and then we started the season, and then we're on this crazy run of form, and then bang, internationals, enjoy yourself. It's been a long 2 weeks, but Chelsea are back, and we travel to Newcastle United. I'm going to have a little moan in the early kickoff on a Saturday. I mean, who thought about this? You know, you got Thiago Silva, who just arrived from flipping Uruguay, or wherever he's been, and they're like, you know what, mate? Sit on the coach to Newcastle for 5 hours and enjoy yourself. I don't agree with this scheduling, but then whoever does, to be honest. If it wasn't us that were annoyed, it would be somebody else. But before we get into anything, I'd love to ask you to subscribe to the George Benson football channel. Now that football has returned, it means that I return. You know, I've decided that with these international breaks, it's the perfect time for me to not take a full break, so I've still uploaded a few videos during the international break, but it's the best time for me to be focusing on the gym or something else in my life that isn't football, Chelsea, and YouTube. So hopefully you guys understand. It's a massive game this weekend. Newcastle away. I remember very well the fixture last season. It was a horrible, horrible moment. I got some dreadful news through on my phone, and I was watching the game, and then they scored a late goal, and I felt awful. Newcastle's always a trip where it doesn't matter what kind of form they're in. They kind of like to show up like it's an FA Cup final when Chelsea are in town. I don't know if it's just the fact they want to punish us for having such a long journey, and then they want to make it even more sour when we go south, but Newcastle away is very rarely a nice fixture for Chelsea Football Club, in my recent memory at least. So if we take a look at the Premier League table, Newcastle are down in 13th place on 11 points, and our beloved Chelsea are in 5th, which at the moment, it's looking like momentum's on our side. We're on 15 points, 1 behind Southampton, 3 points off the leaders Leicester. So you guys know that a win in this early kickoff, even if it is just for a small period of time, will put us top of the league. And then we can all sit there singing, we're top of the league. And I will do it. If we win, I will put it in the 6 things we learned video. This is a big one because Chelsea in the build-up, I know I've said it's a big one about 9 times, but just allow me, okay? In the build-up to this international break, we were seeing this Chelsea team come together. If I'm being honest, I feel as though it's come together much quicker than I would have anticipated. You add into the mixer of that the unpredictability of the Premier League, the fact that some of the big boys are struggling, there are some teams that have started very well, who you probably suspect will drop off the pace between now and the end of the season. Chelsea with a big squad, Chelsea with a very good, talented young squad. This is the kind of season where we can make things happen. It might be against what people believe. Liverpool and City are probably still the best 2 teams, but we're closing in. And if we do win this one, it feeds us in very nicely to a very difficult run of fixtures over the course of the end of this month. We've got Spurs at the end of this month. We've got Champions League games to finish the group. We've got loads of matches in December. And the team that I've built today is based on the injuries, of course, to Billy Gilmour. We got Thiago Silva is out, and he's probably not even going to travel. Who else is out? I'm thinking about this. Pulisic's still out. Havertz has been recovering from that bloody virus, but he could be on the bench. So the team that I've built is, in my opinion, good enough to go to Newcastle and get the result. Now, as we saw in the games leading up to the international break, the 4-3-3 for Chelsea was looking very favourable. We were creating a lot of chances, we looked very solid at the back, and even though this game is away from home, I don't think it's a good idea for Chelsea to revert back to a 4-2-3-1 formation for this one. I think the playing personnel that we have available is very much suited to that of a 4-3-3. So starting off with the goalkeeper, we've got Edouard Mendy. The guy's had a brilliant international break for Senegal. He's in fantastic form for both club and country, and it's a no-brainer that he is now the #1 goalkeeper at Chelsea Football Club. Moving in to the right back, and it's Rhys James. We saw another decent performance from Rhys in the first international for England, and I feel as though Rhys now has the baton has not necessarily been handed over forever, but he is the #1 in my opinion. I think from what we've seen of him in his early season form, he's improved massively defensively, probably down to the ability of the players around him Going forward, he's an absolute menace. The crosses into the box are phenomenal. And against the Newcastle side, who even at home this season at times, they've looked reluctant to go forward. Maybe they won't use the same mistakes they made, let's say, in the game against United, where they were probably the most impotent side I've ever seen in football. They're probably going to try and go for it a bit more, but Rhys is going to have a lot of space down that right, putting in crosses for the striker to convert. We move into the centre-back positions, and the pairing that I've gone for, considering there's no Thiago Silva, it is, of course, Mr. Aerial Duel winner himself, Kurt Zouma. The geezer is gargantuan. He wins everything in the air. He's scoring goals. In my opinion, obviously, when Thiago Silva's not in the side, he's the best centre-back in the club right now. He is partnered alongside Fikayo Tomori. Now, I don't know what it is about Tomori. I've said this a million times, but there's something that Lampard isn't quite confident with Tomori. But I do feel as though he will start alongside Zouma in this game. Rudiger has not been involved in the Premier League squads at all. I think there probably will be a way for him to leave Chelsea probably sooner rather than later, simply for his own career. He's got stuff to do with Germany as well, and if he's not playing games for Chelsea, he's not going to be getting in that Germany side. But for my own personal reasons, I would love to see Tomori as Zouma's partner. Let me know in the comments down below who you think it's going to be. Could it be Christensen? I'm not confident about that. I think Tomori's a brilliant centre-back. Needs to be given a chance when the chances are rising for him. It is this weekend, and I hope that he starts. Moving in to the left-back, and from Frank Lampard's press conference, it was very early for the players coming back. Ben Chilwell stayed an extra day with England, so Frank hasn't really been able to assess whether or not Ben Chilwell is going to be fit and ready for this game. If he is fit and ready, then he starts. He's been absolutely phenomenal so far this season, and he's been my player of the year to this point from the minutes I've seen him play. For the reason of, I don't think he's going to be fully ready. Frank might not want to risk him with so many games coming up. I think we could see Cesar Azpilicueta starting in the left-back role for this one. You've also got to remember, with no Thiago Silva, Azpi's one of the natural captain choices. And as you're about to see from the midfield that I'm going to build, you've got Jorginho, you've got Azpi, you've got Silva as the three go-to captains in this side. So my midfield three is Mateo Kovacic, N'Golo Kante, and Mason Mount. Seeing no Jorginho in the side, I think he missed the last two games, and it's looking very clear that in this 4-3-3 formation, Jorginho doesn't really complement and contribute to the team as well as a Kovacic or a Mason Mount. I think it's a good midfield three. Kai Havertz has recovered from the coronavirus, but considering he's been at home isolating, he's not really been training or doing that much exercise, I guess you could say. Is he going to be ready for this game against Newcastle? If the game's not going Chelsea's way and he feels fit enough, I expect he'll be on the bench, but I wouldn't start him for this one. Mason Mount's been in brilliant form for England, scoring goals again. Kante's been winning games for France, and he's been phenomenal for Chelsea in recent weeks. And Mateo Kovacic, I mean, I had to look 3 times, not even twice. He scored twice against bloody Portugal. Kovacic on the score sheet. Our players have been brilliant during the international break. I was going to do a video on it. Yesterday kind of bypassed me, and it's now Newcastle preview time. So the players that we had on international duty were firing. And the good news about that is they continue the momentum they were building in club form. They move it into the internationals, and they're all going to be coming back with a lot of confidence after this international break. Hakim Ziyech is the right winger. He was brilliant again for Morocco. Some of the things that this guy can do, I'll take my hat off and you can see this dodgy Barnet under here, but you know what it is. Ziyech is a match winner. He's a game changer, and what we've seen him do since he's come into this Chelsea team is give us like this dynamic element where we know that he's going to try and cut in on that left foot, but the quality of delivery is just superb. I watched that Ben Chilwell goal back again, and it kind of hits him flimsy on the knee, but the ball is just like, you put it in that position. Chelsea have got players always getting in the box. You've got the left back ghosting in as well. Ziyech is just going to rock it up with the assists and even the goals as well. The man's playing with a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence. And we move into the left wing position. Now this one's interesting. I really want Callum Hudson-Odoi to be given the shirt for this one. I think he was good again for the England under 21s or under 23s, whatever it was. I wasn't paying that much attention, but I saw he scored a great goal, got a nice assist as well, and I think this is the perfect game to stick Hudson-Odoi in there. Newcastle have been, they've been up and down so far this season. They're not doing awful. Considering the bad performances I've seen, you would think that they're relegation fodder, but they're currently sitting, looks at the table, nice and pretty, 8 points adrift of 18th place West Brom, who have drawn 3 games, yet to win themselves. So I think this is a perfect game for Hudson-Odoi. Christian Pulisic is still out injured. I just hope that Frank Lampard sees how good Mason Mount has been in a midfield 3, not just for Chelsea, also for England. And if he puts Mason on the left and then tries to incorporate another central midfielder in, it's going to be very demoralising for Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think he's got to start this one. And the striker, of course, is big Timo Werner. The man's been in brilliant form again for Germany, just like everybody on international duty. He's been bagging in the goals for Chelsea. And I get excited, you know, there's still times where I know we're 8 games into the season, I know I've made a ton of videos and it was the summer where we secured all these signings. When I look at that team and I realise there's no Silva, there's no Havertz in the starting 11, there's no Pulisic, it's good. You know, these players that we brought in, they're special players, they're connecting together very early. And every time now that I make these videos, I know I've kind of stopped with the how we will beat titles, but I'm still very confident going into every game that Chelsea have more than enough to not just win, but to win well. We're playing some brilliant football. We're scoring a lot of goals, more than anyone else in the Premier League. We're defending brilliantly as well. And I think this starting 11 is more than good enough to go to St James's Park, or whatever they call it these days, sponsors, blah, 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 at St James's Park to me. We're going to go there and get the result. So as you can see, we've also built the bench out as well. If Kai Havertz is ready to be in the squad, then we'll probably see him introduced towards the last 20 minutes of the game. Hopefully, it's going in Chelsea's favour and we can rest him without any worries with a busy schedule coming up. As for my predictions for this game, as I said, I'm confident. It's not an easy fixture. Newcastle tend to turn up and it's a long journey up there. It's an early kick. Whose idea was this? I mean, come on, it's just too early, to be honest. It's good for me in Bali. It's 8:30 PM here, which is bloody wonderful. I almost see the game in daylight. Prediction, as I get distracted again and kick the camera, I'm going to go with 2-0 Chelsea. You know, I'm going to sit on the fence. It's been a while. You don't know how things are going to go back in. Newcastle are Newcastle. They'll be prime Barcelona within 8 minutes. 2-0 Chelsea. Comfortable win. Yes, we might miss Thiago Silva. Yes, we're going to miss the industry and work rate of Kai Havertz. But there's so many good players in this squad. I'm more than confident for any team that comes our way. So yeah, gonna wrap this video up here. Won't take up any more of your time. It's a Friday. I know you're stuck at home in lockdown right now. I hope you guys are doing okay. And yeah, I'm back. 6 Things We Learned will be out after the game tomorrow. Hopefully, it is another flood of blue and green boxes. That would be the ideal scenario. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you're not yet subscribed to GBFC, I'd love to ask you to do so. I love making these videos, it's my job, and I love the feedback that you guys always give in the comments down below. Let me know your starting 11, let me know what you think of my team, let me know your predictions, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow with 6 Things We Learned. See you all there. Come on, you Blues. Been there.